And I'm back. Okay, look. Flash is really, 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 really good. Let's continue to examine why in this game. Yet another game from the semi-final of the SanDisk ShoutCraft Invitational. All these games taken from there. Legendary. Absolutely legendary Terran vs. Terran. I think this will be a pretty quick segment number 3. I think it just showcases moves that look odd as hell, but make absolutely crystal clear sense when you think of the notion of initiative and of waiting. There's the command center going down. Command center first into barracks, barracks. Or, well, excuse me, sorry, I must be misremembering. Sincerest apologies. Flash simply corrects me by not building a second barracks. One thing that I will note, one of the reasons why we might prefer a more bio-heavy play on this map is, well, I mean, actually I don't need to zoom out, just look at it. It's very hard to control any space. If you're here on the mini-map, and you elect to go up to this pod to move, you have a counterattack path here, you have another counterattack path here, you have a drop path like this that you could argue might be a little bit hard to drop properly, but you can never discount the effectiveness of a counterattack up into the main. I mean, even look at this rally point here. Units sieged up here are going to be able to defend this, but they won't really be able to defend this. You need a lot of mech, and the instant you move out, you're very susceptible to a counterattack. And that's theory. That's just the general theory of it. In practice, you can do okay with mech on this, but you still might favor bio because there's some very nice bio plays that you can make, and you can still control those key chokes with tanks. So, my flash. The Grim Reaper doth arriveth. So Flash goes for expand, barracks, Pecturi. He's gonna get his little buns reapered. Bbyong trapped in the corner. Hellion, Heli-Sun. Flash is going to wind up in kind of a precarious predicament. I don't necessarily know if Flash can detect the timing of when that Hellion arrived to expect it to be a very fast factory. But all you need to do is see one Reaper, one Hellion, they both died, and you gotta ask yourself, man, what the hell is this guy doing? Sending a single Hellion forward and seeing this makes perfect sense. Only a Banshee seems reasonable. Actually, okay. If you're an expert player, if you watch a lot or play a lot, you're going to know that really only a Banshee is the reasonable choice from there, for a lot of more complex reasons about economy and going into the end game. But at a basic level, all you got to say is, I saw a fast Reaper, I saw a fast Hellion, fast Banshees are possible. And we see Flash thusly, again, abandoning initiative, opting to build missile turrets and accept his very defensive life. His defensive life for us. Here's Flash being a boss. Bbyong is boss-proof. A little bit of a struggle. And this is where we see, again, there's been 2 rounds of abandoning initiative. First, going for Viking with missile turret. There is no successful attack involving Vikings and missile turrets. This is a defensive play. And then as a follow-up to this, Flash focuses on tank production rather than Hellion. A very defensive play. It's very difficult to mount attacks with small numbers of tanks once you hit mid-game. In the early game, small tank numbers are pretty good. So Flash does a thing. I would like to note that Flash is not panicking and throwing down extra production structures unnecessarily. He's waiting patiently for the money to be available. So, first Flash is going to do a little initiative seizing with his Banshees. He's going to try to apply a little teensy bit of pressure to set up time for him to get the barracks add-ons done, to set up time for him to get Stim, Combat Shield, +1.
Research complete.
He's got the Raven and the Viking moving out a little bit. He started to move out a little bit. And Stim's gonna be done now. Come on. Come on, Flash. Alright, whatever, Flash. So cool. Providing a little initiative. Making Bbyong get a little bit defensive. Oops. Flash just waiting patiently. This isn't all that terrifically dramatic. Flash did lose some SCVs. No big deal. So great. Flash killed some Hellions. Flash has been staying defensive. Therefore, Flash should have the opportunity to seize back the ball. If Flash has been focusing on building up a big army this whole time, he should have that big army to use. The crux of this big army is in the siege tank count. Flash began building those siege tanks. Remember what I said? Siege tanks in small numbers are not aggressive in the mid-game. They can be aggressive in the early game, but not in the mid-game. You need medium numbers of tanks to be aggressive then, and that's what Flash has. The only way that Flash would have had those medium number of tanks is if he'd begun building them much earlier. And so thusly he doth have them. Some amazingnesses to note. Stim ain't done, Combat Shield ain't done. This is Flash just recognizing an opportunity because he's killed some Hellions and because his tank count is pretty damn high. There's not even medevacs in this force. And Flash is not committing to an attack. He's not forcing the opportunity. He's just looking for an opportunity. And is a very cool little play. A Quattro auto turret attack. And in just a gorgeous display of understanding of this game, Flash marches up before Combat Shield and Stim. When Combat Shield finishes, he's barely made it up the ramp, and after seizing control of the natural, Flash finally gets Stim. I need to reanalyze the last few minutes just to pay enough respect to what Flash has successfully done here. He saw Reaper sacrifice, Hellion sacrifice, and a Banshee. I don't think he even killed the Banshee. Nope, there it is. With one kill. He began building tanks so early. He kept building Marines from a very early time. Not at all good in the opening game. Not at all good for aggression, at least. He's going to use these Banshees to give himself a little bit of time and breathing room to get these barracks up and going. By doing this, the only way that an enemy is going to be able to withstand this is if he does have many Vikings and likely a Raven himself. So after the failed attack and the identification of Vikings and a Raven, Flash just does it. He just goes. This is an opportunity that has presented itself. Why? Because Bbyong sacked the ball. He sacked a bunch of Hellions in here. He revealed a Raven Viking back there. Sacking it all. And then Flash didn't force an opportunity. He waited, he waited, he waited. Does this, and then he sees the Hellions and he's like, alright, great, here I come. Beautiful. Alright. Now, if you've been watching this entire episode, you'll know that the appropriate move for Flash right now is to begin to plan to not have initiative. He needs to plan to lose the ball. Why? Because he's seized the ball and then he did a big thing. Big thing when you have the ball can be deal a lot of damage with an attack, successfully take an expansion without any interruption, successfully do a massive transition or ramp up in production structures. A big thing occurs, and the instant that big thing occurs, that is what you have bought with the currency of ball. That is the purchase you have made with the opportunity you have gained from having the initiative. Flash made a big purchase. He made a big buy. So what's a Flash to think right now? Damn, I'm probably gonna lose initiative soon. So this expansion probably shouldn't move out here. This tank should probably stay here to watch the main. There should probably be a carefully thought out re-rallying of things. Oh, and there's the re-rally. Damn, my timing was good on this one. Siege tank, rally there. Okay, great. Siege tanks are set up. We got a Marauder going. Very carefully done. Okay, when this is finished, should it move here? Well, no. For a lot of reasons. The most basic reason is we're 2 base versus 1 base. We are doubling his base count. We don't need to be tripling. We don't need to vary win. And second of all, we are expecting him to have the ball. We're expecting a big attack at any time. A big attack at any time is going to be better if we are spread more thinly. So we don't give him that opportunity. Look, here it is. It's just rallying SCVs back home. Smattering of units, that's all. I mean, these medevacs are moving out. Yep, rallied in.
Somebody, get me out of this mess.
Seems weird, right? Seems like it shouldn't be the case, right? Well, we're just going, you should take the ball. You should take it from me right now. But the fact that it is not. Exactly what we saw last game. And what do you do when your opponent's supposed to have taken the ball and he hasn't yet? Wait. Just wait. Because you're probably way ahead. Just wait. Just chill. Technically, he could be preparing a mega attack. Well, great. We've accounted for that anyways by waiting and not hurling units away like a dunce. The drop was not successful. I mean, this thing's still here. Still making Wakas. Oh, a Seeker missile killed off a thing. In another few minutes, he'll have the ability to cast another Seeker missile. After waiting and 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 painstaking waiting, Flash is finally like, alright, I guess I'll go reinforce, but not after a quick minute. No, no, no. I waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. I waited for the time for you to have had the initiative to pass. What's the signal that it has been passed? It's not a clear signal. However, the fact that we have been 2 base versus 1 base means that eventually our army supply should be way ahead of our enemies. And when it's way ahead of our enemies, we have initiative again. In concrete terms, wait. And when you think you've waited long enough, wait a little longer, and then take your damn expansion and pretend that you have initiative again. These are the rules of trading initiatives. To have initiatives, you need to make sacrifices. You need to build faster units that are weaker. So the fact that Flash took the initiative implies that Bbyong should have another attack coming up. Should be, so we're not going to expand. Should be. Great. Whether he had a big attack coming up or not, we have out-macroed him. So whenever it does arrive, we should be able to stomp over it with superior forces and get the GG. Terran vs. Terran has the tendency to be the matchup where we can most apparently see these transitions of who has the ball and who doesn't. Because a lot of it is... oh, sorry, I got distracted by a haiku. Yeah, this tends to be the matchup where we see the sort of the most back and forth because of the tank. Its ability to control space, because of the way production works, that you get reactors that are making Hellions and aggressive units, and then you got to stop and go to tech labs and get tanks, defensive units. But I hope that this was a really useful examination for you of this concept. I'd like to give an extra special bit of deference to Flash, because I have watched him very, very early. Watched him in the OGN Challenger League in 2006. I think was his first appearance. It was 2006 or 2007 was his first appearance. And then I believe in 2008 was his first win. And I've just always been in absolute awe of his ability to manage the game. When he has the ball and has initiative and opportunity, he takes huge plays, lots of expansions, lots of big moves, and when it's time for him to be defensive, he is very defensive and extremely frugal with his units. First question, that's just a great question from Dusty Mouse. Is this ball only in TVT? Nope, it is in all matchups. To redefine the ball, for any who were not here, it comes down to who can be aggressive and who cannot be aggressive. If I have Mutalisks and you, Protoss, don't have Phoenix, you can't be aggressive. You got to be careful and make sure I don't kill all your probes, and got to make sure that you have good defenses in all the places. And then once you have either a lot of Phoenixes or strong enough defenses to withhold any amount of Mutalisks, only then can you make the big attack. And now I, as the Zerg player, oh crap, I've built only flimsy Mutalisks. And now he's coming at me, and I can't even counterattack because his defenses are too damn good. Now I no longer have the ball, and Protoss has the ball. Hey, let me redefine the ball. Get aggressive with them balls. Vertical Mammal actually brings up something that's interesting. He says it's like the who's the beatdown versus who's the beatdown versus control in MTG. I thought you said beatdown versus keep away in a fighting game. I misread. And actually, yeah, I guess it's kind of similar to that, except it will wind up trading back and forth. I like the ball analogy to soccer, as it's the cleanest, because you do wind up with that exchange quite a lot. Why are you drinking from a bowl? I don't know, man. There was one day where there weren't clean dishes, or there weren't clean glasses, so I'm not going to clean a glass. I'm just going to get a bowl, right? I'm an adult male. Why would I clean a glass? And I started drinking out of a bowl, and I just keep drinking out of a bowl now. It's like a habit. Let's see here. Manbond says, Day 9. Last game, Flash didn't siege tanks to maintain a bit of control versus the Hellions. Why do you think this is? Manbond, if you can be a little more specific about when that happened, that would be useful. I'm going to make an assumption and assume you're talking about... Right. I guess it was a little bit after this. Right in here, we might ask, why not siege versus these Hellions? And if it's this time you're talking about, the reasoning is very simple. If you siege up, the Hellions will run away. So the siege tanks are not participating in the fight. By keeping them unsieged, the tanks are able to shoot the Hellions. They're able to do stuff. I just hope that's what you mean. The smallest griff says, Dana, I think you have an unhealthy addiction to drinking from bowls. Please get help. God, I hope there's a pill for this. I didn't realize this was such a serious malady. I mean, maybe I just haven't been admitting it to myself properly. Is there like it's like a 21-step debolification process? I hope I don't have debola. Oh, Worker. Can you give a shout out to my wife, Lynn? Of course. What up, Lynn? I hope you're still playing 2v2s with Worker. I met Worker and Lynn at one of the day-night meetups in LA. Second, could you please give examples to differentiate between searching for opportunities versus being aggressive versus seizing the initiative? Okay, so I'll do the seizing the initiative first. To seize the initiative, I'll explain it in a weird order. If you look at who has what in a replay, like rewatch one of your replays and say, can I move around the map freely without a lot of threat with some or all of my units? And if the answer is yes, you have the initiative. If you have to stay defensive, you have to hold back, you don't have the initiative. So an example of seizing the initiative would be if your enemy had a whole bunch of Hellions poking at your front and Banshees poking at your back, and you have all the defense you need. You have turrets in the back, you have forces at the front, and you make a big move out. You would be seizing the initiative. So for instance, right here, Flash has been defending this entire time, and now we would ask the question, can Flash freely move out on this map in this circumstance? Actually, yeah, he can. Bbyong is first moving out freely. Bbyong is still kind of has the initiative, and right as that thing has died, Flash is like, dude, the initiative is mine. He just moves out because he has the bigger damn force. He has driven these back. So your second question, what's the difference between seeing an, what is it? Did I scroll past it? The second question is searching for opportunities versus being aggressive. Well, searching for opportunities is like what this force is doing. This force is looking for a chance to maybe kill an expansion, maybe kill some units, but it gets hit by a siege tank, and there appears to be some forces. So Flash moved forward. He's searching for an opportunity, but this siege tank here, combined with the rest of the forces, make him go, oh, okay, no opportunity will pan out. But this is a little opportunity that did at the back. I'm going to move this Raven up. Sometimes there's a Viking here, and there's a siege tank here, and we just gotta go home. But wait, there wasn't a Viking here, so I'm going to do this. Now Flash is searching for an opportunity. He's taken one opportunity that he didn't force. He didn't suicide this Raven through a Viking. He just noted that there was no Viking, so he can make the play. And then he goes, wait, if all your Hellions are back here, then there's not going to be anything at your front. Okay, I mean, if you want to not defend it, Bbyong, I'll seize it. Great. So to contrast this, if for some reason Flash encountered a Viking with his Raven and tried to force the issue, try to force aggression to happen, Flash would lose a Raven and not really do that much value. If Flash tried to march his units up the front and say something like, there's a timing, then he'd probably lose most of his Marine Marauder, most of his tanks, because trying to force it to happen. He simply just moved units into positions where they could attack and said, can I actually attack? And the Raven was like, oh, it can. All right, pull back. Oh, I can move in the front. All right, pull back. Hope that was useful. I think that was actually that was a little bit long-winded of an explanation, but I think that those two questions, I needed to break it into those two comparisons. But I like that one. Wonderful question from Lefowens that we'll use to end it. Day 9, how do you know which player has the ball at the start of the game? No one really has the ball at the outset of the game. The first person to take it is almost always the person who chooses faster units first. Faster is the wrong word. More mobile units first. One Terran goes Marine, the other Terran goes Reaper. Boom! Reaper player has the initiative. If both players open Marines, nothing. If one player opens, following this, tanks, and the other goes Hellions, the Hellion player has the initiative. If both players open Marines and then tanks, and then when we get to Starport, one player opens Raven, and the other player opens with Banshees, the Banshee player has the initiative. Boom. See you tomorrow. I'm going to play Hearthstone Arena. Yay! Oh, that was an awesome show. It's because Flash is so goddamn good. Ooh!